Hey guys, it's Matt Core from Ctrl+Paint.com, and today we're going to finish up our little mini-series on blending tools. We've talked about smudge tool, we've talked about mixer brush. Now let's combine them all in a real-world scenario. Here I've got a rough-in, sort of block-in study of this photo of an ear, both of which I'm making available at the bottom of the post. So if you want to follow along with this same exercise, feel free. Now when I work, despite my best efforts, I could not just use the smudge tool or just the mixer brush. Maybe some people can, but it just didn't work for me. So what I found was some combination is actually best. So if I have a large flat area here where there's a lot of little brush strokes, and what I actually want, as you can see in the reference, is kind of a big smooth transition. That's a great opportunity for some mixer brush preset. So here I have one that just kind of averages things out. It is not so good when I need to have more control. So this edge, for instance, you can see is really kind of angular and jagged. Clearly the reference is different. So what I'd do here is I'd make a new layer, switch to the brush tool, and then I would start painting in a hard edge just with direct paint. So what I'm focusing on here is the important edge. Where I'm less concerned is down where it's sort of blending off into the rest of the painting. So what I'll do here is actually use both tools. In this case, I've added pigment where it's really critical, where I need a lot of control. And then I'll switch to the mixer brush, for instance, and kind of fade that new paint into the old paint. So I'm staying away from that sharp edge that I added, and instead I'm focusing on this kind of transition zone. I could be using the smudge tool, I could be using the mixer brush. What I find is the mixer brush works a little better for me because I like the texture. And so I work in this way. I'll look for an area where I need a little more control, switch to the brush tool, and I'll add in the hard edge. Here's where I'm being a little slower, a little more careful. And then to the right of this area where I need to kind of blend it back into the painting, I'll do some kind of a rough block in with the brush tool, and then I'll switch to the mixer brush and work on that fade. And if something gets out of hand, if I've gone too far, it's still all on its own layer. So I could then switch to like a soft eraser, for instance, and kind of pull it back altogether. So in this way, I am not replacing the brush tool sort of on-screen mixing with the mixer brush. I'd love to, I wish it felt natural to me, but so far it just doesn't. I think there's a time and place for each. So let's look at this area of the ear too. I have this containing edge, which needs to be pretty sharp, but then all of this central area, as you can see in the reference, is a much more smooth transition. So for that, I will switch to the mixer brush and really kind of smooth out that transition. And actually, as an example, I'll go beyond where I want to. So I'll smooth all that out. And then I'll go back in where I need a hard edge with my brush tool. So here, I'm actually just gonna paint on a new layer right on top to bring that hardness back. So there's different ways to retain hardness and different ways to have those soft transitions. But I think all hard or all soft is not a great look. Some people can make an entire painting with a soft brush. It doesn't really work that way for me. So it's not a dramatic conclusion to this mini series, but I think some middle ground is best. Knowing when is the right moment to use the direct control of a brush and on-screen mixing with the eyedropper, and when to release a little control and switch to, the mixer brush to get that nice, quick transition. And I really think that is the give up here. You're trading speed for accuracy. And in certain situations, one is definitely what you need. I think I've made a mistake waiting this long to learn how cool the mixer brush is and how cool the smudge tool is. So hopefully you've learned from my mistake. The three tools are great and work really well together. So I encourage you to download my rough study of an ear as well as the photo of the ear and try some combination of your new presets for the mixer brush, smudge tool, and then the trusty old brush tool. I think the combination is the sweet spot. Have fun painting, and thanks for coming to the site.